Hello everybody, my name is Marlowe and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Survival, where currently we're here at my survival base, which I feel like we haven't visited in a couple of episodes because we've actually been over in the new mangrove swamp biome doing some building over there, and surprise surprise, we're heading back over there for today's episode. Well, nearby the mangrove swamp. It's actually going to be in the regular swamp biome where we're doing building today. But the point is, we're not stopping off here at the survival base for long. All I'm really here to do is drop off some supplies from last episode and gather up some new ones for what we're going to be doing today. And that is a witch farm, because I have next to no redstone anymore in this world, and I could go caving for it. I would probably enjoy myself, but I would like the option to not have to do that. So a steady supply that I can just AFK for would be pretty nice. There is one thing I have to deal with before we can leave, and that is under here. As you can see, the rest of the tadpoles that were in this little area when we were trying to get one of every frog type have now grown up into full-grown frogs, and I don't really know what to do with these guys. I'm kind of tempted just to let them roam freely around my base here, because I don't really want to build anything for them. I've already got myself a frog sanctuary. We've done all that before. We don't need to do it again. So I think I'm just going to let them out and see where they go. There is quite a lot of powdered snow up here in the mountains, so maybe somewhere a little further away would be wise. I'm thinking down here in this area by the two custom ponds that we have. That way they can go in the water if needed, and there's not much else around here that could potentially kill them. Other than the giant hole in the ground, but let's just hope they don't fall down there. They're all attached, and I have no idea the best way to do this. I'm thinking we just dig out the wall, pull them down, and hope they don't die. So, little friends, could you all just get out of the water and come with me? 1, 2, 3. Where are the other two? Alright, I'm going to come back for you two. Just stay put right there. This will never not be funny to me. Look at their little legs wobble. It's too adorable. Oh, let's not walk into some deathly snow. Alright, we're nearly there, little froglets. Nearly there. And we have arrived, my little babies. Be free. Wander the earth and just try not to die, because you are totally alone out here. I am not going to be watching you, so good luck. Let me go get your brother and sister, if they are still there. And they are. Wow, impressive. Okay, I thought you guys would be out as soon as you could. All right, just come this way a little bit. You'll be fine. And spleef. Spleef. Oh, come on, you two. Oh, no, he's just dangling. Oh, this could go poorly. There were only 4 frogs, right? As I remember. Yeah, there were 4, not 5. There you go, frogs. As promised, your one and only remaining family member. It was just 1. There wasn't 2. I can assure you. If you tell me any different, well, you're just lying, because there was definitely 1 left. I just don't have the heart to tell them. Place your bets now, everybody. How long are these frogs staying in the area? I don't even know where the 4th one is, honestly, so it's not a good start. But it's okay. I'll let them wander. They can do whatever they want. This one's going back up into the mountain. He is a cold frog after all. He's probably pretty warm down here at the bottom. Anyway, let's get started with that witch farm, shall we? I'll gather up my supplies and I'll meet you on over there. So here we are at the witch hut that we're going to be turning into a farm today. I've got all of my supplies ready to go. As you can see, I should probably get rid of you, otherwise you're going to make it a bit of a nuisance for me. Very sorry. I would actually like to have a look around for the black cat that sometimes spawns here though. Hello, kitty. Are you around? Because you're pretty rare, and I would kind of like to get my hands on you. But I don't seem to see her anywhere. Okay, that's fine. We don't need the cat. That's not why we're here. We are in fact here to build ourselves a witch farm, which I'm just going to get started with right away. But before we do, I just have to let you know that this is not my own design, as you guys may have guessed. I am following a tutorial, this one from Shulkercraft. I've used quite a lot of his tutorials and farms in this world, and for a good reason. He makes great videos, they're easy to follow, and just really good quality. So if you need a farm design for witches, go check out that. It's in the description. There's also another link in the description which you may notice, but I'll explain that later on when it's actually relevant to what we're doing. for right now, it's time to build the farm, so cue the time lapse. So the witch farm is done, pretty much. You may notice we have some scaffolding pillars. That's because those are the markers for where I need to do some spawn proofing. So I basically need to get rid of all of the blocks in a big circle surrounding the farm. But before we do that, I would just like to make sure it's actually working correctly. So the only reason we really need to get rid of these blocks around here and spawn proof this area is so that it actually works at nighttime. Obviously in daytime, nothing can spawn down here. So in theory, if I set up the AFK platform way up in the sky there, we should be getting some drops. That's not normal, is it? My scaffolding is disappeared. It just stops here. Oh, there we go. We're back. We're good. Okay, let's continue placing it down. And now we rise. Hey, we made it. That took no time at all. So this is the level we need to be at for the witches to spawn down there. So in theory, we should be actually getting some spawns right now, but I would just like to make a bit of a more suitable AFK platform up here just with some glass. So whilst I'm doing that, I'm hoping witches are spawning, and then in a second, maybe a minute or two actually, I'll go down and just check we've actually got some drops. Alright, that's been roughly a minute and a half-ish, somewhere around there. All I really need is clarification now we're actually, getting drops in here and witches are in fact dying. So if I could just find my entrance somewhere around here, there we go. We should have something in this bottom chest. Great, okay, that just goes to show that it's actually in working order. Let's get to spawn proofing. But first, satisfying scaffolding full. Lovely. But our area is now spawn proofed. Nothing is going to be spawning in these murky waters here other than witches right in the center. So I think before we start with covering this farm up with what I'll get onto very shortly, let's do a very quick AFK session, maybe just 10 or 15 minutes, and we can see what the drop rates are like. So this is everything that we got whilst I was doing the spawn proofing and just setting up the farm and that sort of thing. Obviously wasn't in the AFK spot, so not the best of drop rates, but after 15 minutes in the AFK spot, this is what we have. It's not the best, but it's certainly not the worst. A stack of redstone in 15 minutes, which means 4 stacks of redstone in an hour. If I was to leave myself here overnight, you can do the maths. I get like 6-7 hours sleep a night. So yeah, not too bad really. As someone who doesn't do redstone all that much, but just needs a little bit, I'm happy. So now it's time to cover up this monstrosity, and we're going to be doing that by building a giant frog. Yep, you heard me. One big frog going over the witch farm in this pool that we've created for it. And this build that we're about to do isn't exactly my own. I'll explain a bit more about that afterwards, but for right now, let's build ourselves a frog. So the frog is done. As you can see, it has come to life and it looks a whole lot smaller now. Nope, it's over there. So this monstrosity, and I mean that in the best way possible, as I said, isn't really my own design. All credit to this goes to Gold Robin. I wanted to encase the witch farm in a giant frog. I had the idea, and then I looked around online for some giant frogs, as you do, built in Minecraft, and that is when I saw my buddy Gold Robin's frog house. Basically, it's like this but on a smaller scale. All I've really done is sized it up, so one of these blocks is 4 or 8 actually, I should say. Yeah, his is like a frog house. It's awesome. I'm going to leave a link to the tutorial that he's made for it down in the description below. Please do yourself a favor and go check that one out. Now, there were a couple of issues I ran into whilst building this, and it mainly comes down to the size of it. Not quite being big enough. I could obviously size it up again so that every one block would be 64 if my maths is correct, which is just too much. That would be like huge. But I had to raise it up by an extra block. You may have seen in that little whatever I just showed you, I'm not really sure what to call it, it kind of got raised up by a block, and that was because the top of the witch farm wouldn't quite fit in. So the actual design of it kind of takes away this top layer here. So mine doesn't look quite as neat and frog-like as Gold Robin's does, but yeah, it is the best I could do given the circumstances. Now, I do just want to explain why I've chosen to use someone else's design for this build, because usually I don't do that sort of thing. Sure, redstone and farms and all that sort of technical side of Minecraft, I will use someone else's design because mine is just not going to be as good. It's not going to work well if I do it myself. But building, that's kind of my area of expertise, and most stuff I come up with alone. But this type of building, I am not good at it, and it mainly comes down to my issue with colors. I'm not good with colors. I'm kind of colorblind, if you guys didn't know. Most of you probably do by now. So picking out the blocks that best correlate to a mob's actual color, I'm just not good at it, and mine would probably be totally wrong if I decided to do it myself. So I just thought I'd have a look around online for some ideas of what colors to use and what blocks, and ended up just stumbling across Gold Robins and thought it was pretty much perfect with the way that it was already. So yeah, that is why I've chosen to do that. But anyway, shall we have a look inside this giant frog? Now I'm going to get my torches in hand to do this because I have a feeling mobs may have spawned as it's quite dark. Having said that, there's water everywhere, so I think we're actually good. I'm just going to light it up in here in case, but yeah, I don't think much should be able to spawn in here because of all of the water, so that's great. Okay, cool. Ouch. What's not that great is this actually needs to be spawn proof. Now, I don't know how to do this. We've kind of got two options. Option A is to spawn proof it using lighting, like torches. Option B is to spawn proof it using blocks, like slabs. If we take the block approach, I think I should be good for most of it, because we could probably turn some of this into slabs and stairs. I could even round out some of the edges and make it look a little bit better that way. The only trouble is, that right there at the back is orange terracotta, and if you didn't know, there's no slabs or stairs for that block. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is use slabs and stairs on all of the acacia when possible, and maybe just over here in this corner I'll replace this block or maybe this one with a jack-o'-lantern or a glowstone or something, cover it up with orange carpet or the acacia trapdoor, and that will stop mob spawning up here. Not going to look the prettiest, but it is right at the back of the build and hopefully shouldn't be seen really. So basically, without all of that explaining, I'm going to use a mix of both lighting and blocks. There we go, our frog has officially been spawn-proofed. He's got some rounded legs now, which aren't perfect at the back there with that orange terracotta, but it's the best I could do really. And then up the top here, above his eyes, these are slabs, so no spawning possible there. We got some stairs and some slabs in the front bit here. Just realized this is all 4 blocks. Okay, gonna have to do something about that. Whoops. But all of this back here is slabs, and we even have some trapdoors to get inside the frog at the back with some lighting, which is just about, as I was saying, lighting up this back block here with a light level of 2. So we barely squeeze it in. I'm also not a huge fan of the cape that I've basically given the frog here, but like I said, it's really the only option possible. And now in between the eyes is spawn proof too. So in theory, nothing should be able to spawn except witches in the witch farm, which means maximum rates. We are now left with one thing and one thing only left to accomplish, which is actually the collection area and the killing system for the witches, which is under our froggy friend here. Now, it's a bit of a mess. I need to waterlog this entire area, but I'm holding off on that because I need to relocate my minecarts, and there are 24 of them in there for entity cramming, so they're going to go a little bit everywhere, and I could do with less water. So I think the plan is to basically move this down underground out the way. We're still going to obviously have to keep the chute that the witches fall down into, but other than that, everything else can go down further below. So yeah, let me quickly sort that out. So the water is all filled in, kind of. There's a couple of open spots here, but I didn't really care enough to go around filling them all in individually. I couldn't really make it spread like it usually does. Water is tricky sometimes, but as you can see, we now have some acacia planks, and all I've done down here is just cover it in acacia. Replaced all the minecarts and everything, and yeah, just... Oh, there's my torches. I was wondering where those went. Yeah, and just sorted all of this out. So there we go. Job done. Oh, and by the way, in case you're wondering why I haven't built an item sorter, that's because I'm just gonna do this instead, which basically does the exact same thing. So there we go, everybody. That is gonna do it for today's episode. Me and my giant frog friend here wish you a very goodbye. Is that a thing? A very goodbye? It is now. A very goodbye to you all. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye for now. Ribbit, ribbit.